the other chapter that you had in this book that immediately caught my attention, and to be honest, this was the very first. I skipped right ahead. This is the first one I read. It was the chapter entitled "Own a Motorcycle," and it talks about masculine therapy.
And see, this is one of the chapters that I put in there intentionally to deviate from the whole "let's keep this busy around women." There's probably at least a third of the book dedicated to content that has nothing to do with women. It's got to do with mental point of origin and yourself. And this is also, by the way, how I can tell when somebody leaves like a crap review that they didn't even read the book. They just bought the book to shit on it, but whatever. But yeah, the importance of a motorcycle. Have you ever owned a bike?
No, I've ridden them, but I've never owned one. Like my father's a mechanic, so we had them growing up.
Yeah. So this became obvious to me when I was starting up my business in the first 2 years, because we moved into this old century home, and it was one of those nicely like renovated 150-year-old homes with the nice touches on the inside sort of shit. But we were on the second floor, and on the main floor, there was a psychologist that she was an old, frumpy Karen looking lady. She'd come up every week and yell at us for making too much noise and then go back down. But my office sat out on a window looking into the parking lot. And I think we were in that building for about 2 or 3 years. So I had a good 2 years of traffic, walking them come in and out of the building, because all of our business was basically done over the phone. We rarely saw customers. And the one common thing that I noticed was most of our customers were women. They always had bitch resting face. So, BRF, whatever the acronym is for that. And when guys showed up, they never rode motorcycles. And I was thinking to myself at the time, like when I was younger, I used to get on my bike and solve every problem that I had. My girlfriend cheated on me. I didn't get the promotion at work, blah, blah, insert whatever, get on the bike, go for a rip, right? And that would solve your problem. You don't need a therapist. You don't need drugs. You don't need antidepressants. All you really need is a young guy as a bike. Trust me.
And I think there's something about riding a bike which is almost meditative, because you have to be present.
Very present. You have to have your head on a swivel. Somebody said in the comments there, sports cars, do they count? I think I wrote at the end, fast convertibles. So that's about as close as you can get.
So it has to have the top down.
Yeah, like you have to feel the elements on you. Like that's one of the things that you feel on a bike. Like if you've ever redlined a sport bike in 6th gear on the highway, like you'll get up to 280, 330 kilometers an hour, which is pretty freaking fast. And wind pressure, like all the wind over your body, like you feel it, right? Like, that you're out there, that you're doing something that most people can't or won't do, right? It's about pushing yourself, basically. Yeah.
Pushing yourself, being comfortable in a very uncomfortable situation, testing yourself as well, because it requires your head to be on a swivel, a lot of physical awareness, a lot of situational awareness, balance, coordination,
a wicked adrenaline rush.
Yeah, reaction speed, like all this stuff, all these things that are also very good to have as a man, like situational awareness, reaction time, etc. all apply there, and it keeps you. And because when you're in a car, I know, coming from Australia, right? When we drive in Australia, it's just an endless straight road. Like that's basically roads in Australia. Between towns, you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to drive for the next hour straight, and nothing's going to happen. And that's why we actually have a lot of car fatalities because of that, because people fall asleep at the wheel because there's nothing to do. But in a car, it's like, music's playing, audiobooks playing, or whatever. Cruise control's on, and you're zoning out. You're on autopilot. But you can't be on autopilot when you're on a motorbike. It's like you've got everything else on the road is probably going to kill you because they're not paying attention. So there we have it.
Yeah.
Arden says, sounds like death by a pedal, one day at a time. And Jim respectfully disagrees. He says carbureted V8s with long tube headers and steep gears works for him.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice, fun thing to throw your time and money at, but you still can't touch. Again, you get on a sport bike, you tuck in tight, you're doing 330 kilometers an hour with the rev limiter bouncing off the fucking, fuel cutoff. That's fast. That's some serious adrenaline rush.
And you mentioned something in there that I thought was quite interesting. Was the only piece of dating advice my father ever gave me was put a girl on a motorbike.
Yeah, chicks dig bikes.
And you'll get her panty, like put on a motorbike, get her to grab onto you, floor it, and go tight around corners, and she'll be dripping wet by the time you get her back to your place.
I actually talk about that in the motorcycle chapter, but we won't talk about the details there because you guys have to read it.
I just found it quite funny. I was like, oh damn, that's exactly what Dad told me.
Yeah.
Jerry Oaksmith with a $25 super chat. Thank you very much, sir. He says, technically, bikes can be about the woman. They have to be fully submissive. Their life is in your hands, and their hands are wrapped around you, holding on.
Yeah, if you want to talk about frame, you will always have her in your frame on a motorcycle. Guys are like, how do I get her in my frame? I don't understand what frame is. What is it? Just get a motorcycle and throw a chick on the back. She's in your frame automatically.
Right. She's not sitting there like carrying you.
She's not telling you what to do, and if she is, get her off the bike. Just get rid of the chick. Just pop a wheelie and just say, see you, Karen.
Drop her off. Bang.
Just drop her off at the next bus stop. Keep the helmet. Just keep it as a souvenir. We'll see you later.
Oh my god, we saw a ton of that when I was hanging out with Myron Gaines in Miami. We went to one particular suburb, and there was just tons of dudes. Like, it was a bit of a dodgy suburb, I think, but that's what the clubs were. And there was all these dudes like riding up and down the fucking strip with dirt bikes in the middle of the suburbs, with all these big fat black chicks on the back. Like,
well, it makes it easier to wheelie, right? Because then you have the extra counterweight on the back, so that it comes up easier. You don't have to clutch it so much.
I was wondering why on earth is he putting the fat bitch on there?
Bro, I remember the very first time I put a bigger woman on the back of my bike when I was younger, and I was surprised how easily the bike wheelied when I was on the throttle. Like, normally you get on the throttle in first gear on a 600 and it won't wheelie, but with some weight behind you.
All right, you've solved this mystery for me, Rich. I was like, these good looking, like, black dudes, like, well, like, good looking, in shape. I'm like, why has this guy got a fat bitch on the back of his bike? Okay, it's because you could do wheelies easily in front of the cafe where we were, and then show.
We always used to make sure the girls wore like the Daisy Duke cut off jean shorts where you had cheeks hanging out.
Oh Jesus,
that was good times, man. I'm telling you guys, bikes, they're cheap, they're fast, they're women dig them. They're a lot of fun. They're cheap to insure. They're dangerous though. You got to be careful though.
Yeah, the thing I'm always aware of when I'm here in America, rather, is people who ride around in fucking jeans and a t-shirt or in shorts.
That was me.
Dude, one thing my dad drilled into me was like, wear fucking leathers. If you're gonna drive a bike, wear leathers, for God's sake, because everyone's a fucking. Because he actually had when I was younger, one of his apprentices at his workshop got into a motorcycle accident, and he took me and my brother and my sister to go, because we knew the guy. He took us to go see him in the hospital after he got into a motorcycle crash.
The mess.
His
a lot of skin.
His legs, man, it was just like he'd been barbecued.
Yeah,
it was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like,
leather's hell, but when it's hot as hell, I was always the guy with the shorts and a helmet, and that was pretty much it, man. It was like, it's hot out, it's 30-40 degrees with humidity. I'm just rolling like this. I'm not sweating.
Fuck it. You only live once, right?
Yeah.